Okay, guys, welcome to another Sunday where we managed to keep ourselves sort of on YouTube. I'm going to say sort of in a very, very gentle way. This is BTWN VidCast. We've moved over to another channel we've got because of a couple of videos we've posted up on one of our channels of flagged due to stupid reasons. So luckily there was a contingency. We took advantage of it and we've moved over to another channel, which by all intents and purposes is named BTWN Paranormal, which is kind of strange. Why we didn't use this in the first place, but snoozed. Nevertheless, welcome. We've got our guest who's coming on shortly. His name is Lindsey. Guy's an absolute legend. I'm not going to tell you about him. That's his job to tell you all about himself. Wear it like a badge, John. And Kate, what the hell have you been up to this week?
Work, dude. Basically work. Freaking out about this whole thing last night about
yeah, oh God.
YouTube going, just shaking my head going, you gotta be kidding me, how's this gonna play out? And basically it's gonna play out fine, actually. It kind of worked itself out in its own way, but you know, when you hear it originally, you're just like, what the happened, you know, if you think about it, you know. And I'm looking at it, I'm going, well, what does that do for all the videos that we've posted? What does that do? And I didn't realize when I found out the reason why it happened, why it was such a small, tiny piece of video that we already got permission to use, if I'm correct.
Yep.
We got permission to use it. All of a sudden now they figured out, well, we didn't like that camera shot that you basically used, you know, over with a helicopter, and let's take that, you know, basically because of that, you guys are 86. You guys are out.
It was absolutely embarrassing, to be fair. It was kind of the best way of putting it. To me personally, it was absolutely frustrating because I didn't know. Yesterday was a really busy day for me, just in personal life, and I was plodding along as you do. And then this morning, on my way to work, I thought, oh, I'll check my WhatsApp, which has got 44 missed messages. 44. I didn't even realise. So I checked it, and the more I was reading it, the more I was going, no. Oh God. So anyway, for those who aren't fully aware, when YouTube have sanctioned our live stream on one of our channels, because we also have a sister show which is based on conspiracies, and the videos posted up, we always have all the permission. Our tech or our media manager, sorry, Stephen Foy, who should be on the show, but I think he's having a few little tech detail issues at the moment. He is an absolute legend with stuff like that. He always makes sure he's not stepping on toes, and he double checks everything. So what's happened here in our eyes and in Steve's eyes is it's just been somebody's been a bit of a nugget or a bit of an idiot and just gone, let's just sanction that. And that channel's now sanctioned till December, which means we can't broadcast on that. So we're going to broadcast on this. Nothing's going to change for you guys. To be fair, it's all for the better in my eyes. Just on the grounds that, I don't know, this is the channel we started on. The other channel was a new start, but this channel's where I kind of like it. It's comfy. So, nevertheless, Kate's week has been an absolutely panicky week, the same as me. Yeah, Steve's just sent me a voice message. I'm not going to listen to it because I'm on the show. I don't know what it said, but that's logic. What I'll do is you're on air, so I'll voice message you. Yeah, okay, give us a second. I'll listen now. Yeah, no. Anyway, yeah. As for my week, just because I can, I managed to do time trials with a quadcopter, like an absolute legend. And I didn't realise how fast those things actually were, the full-size quadcopters, and the thing throttles. If it ever was to clip you, I think it'd probably kill you.
How high did you get it?
At one point, 180 foot. One of my friends came. Yeah, no, that's not height. It can do 2,000 foot. It's scary. I was reading through it through the assistant software. When you plug it in, it says what's your maximum altitude you'd like to reach. Okay, space for reach. Let's just let that go. But no, it's 2,000 foot at maximum level. And it was. Just 2 seconds, guys. Can I just cut off a second, Steve? Kate. Just hang on a second, look back now. Okay.
Is that your dog?
Yeah, is
he choking on something?
It sounds like he is, that's right.
You better check him out, dude.
Oh, weird. Just 2 seconds. I'm just going to be back in a second, Kate.
Okay, I'll go.
Just 2 seconds. Steve's hidden here and muted for some reason.
Steve, why are you hiding behind the Beyond the White Noise? Steve, come on out, bro. Pop out. You're like the guy that's like from the Wizard of Oz that hides behind the thing. You're like the wizard. Oh, okay. My apologies. All right. So basically, what's going on right now, if you guys are watching this, Mo's dog is probably choking on a bone right now. Mo, you probably shouldn't have given your dog that kind of bone, but you know, we'll just go further from there.
My wife decided she wanted to try WWE wrestling with the dog. She just got him into a headlock.
Okay. I was just curious.
My poor dog couldn't breathe. Oh, look, he looks all right now. He's a trooper.
You're choking a dog on air, dude. Oh my God.
I'm not choking the dog. Can't say it was me choking the dog. I'm not. No. What? No, God love him. Because he's so small.
He's a cool dog. He is.
Oh, he's fluffy. He's a lump of fluffy love. But yeah, nevertheless, as I said, he's had his monthly flea treatment today. She tries to keep him on top, and she's worried that it hasn't affected his respiratory system. But
it can do.
It can do. But the good news is,
just give him your son's inhaler or somebody's inhaler.
I don't think it's that bad. He was riding his teddy bear before, so I think he's all right.
Okay. He was getting off on that. Okay, that'll work.
Still a little champion.
Hey man, the one of Winnie the Pooh was absolute. If you guys ever want to see a funny video, and Mo, I'm going to ask for it later tomorrow or something like that. If you can send it to me, and I'll post it out there without your name.
I'll put it on YouTube.
Can I get permission to use your name on it?
No, I'll just sanction you till December.
Oh, come on! Let me borrow that video. That is the funniest thing I have ever seen in my life. Come on, let me go with it.
It's hilarious. I'll definitely get it over. Now, Steve's just messaged me there. He said he's going to try and get on. He's having issues, but he's having an issue with his camera, so he's just going to try and come on microphone only. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to...
Sorry.
Hello, Steve. We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfectly fine.
Right, so just carry on regardless. I'll carry on working on this. I don't know
where's that voice coming from.
It's coming from deep inside your soul.
Would you go as far as saying it was? Would you go as far as saying it's coming from beyond the white noise? Connie, that was low.
But just carry on doing what you're doing, and I'll get past these issues as soon as we can.
Dude, okay. Well, you said like a true professional that as well. I was impressed with that. I'm going to get past my technical difficulties, and I will be back with you shortly. That was very good today. Personally, I would have gone, it's broke, I'm trying to fix it, leave me alone for 5 minutes, lads. But yeah, nevertheless, onwards and upwards.
Some of us are better at this than others.
Yeah, I'll teach you how to be like that soon, Steve, don't you worry. Just another one for you as well. Unfortunately, our other co-host, Adam O'Rourke, he couldn't be on at the moment. Unfortunately, he watched A Fault in Our Stars, and it's obviously... He likes love stories a bit too much, and it's between that and watching Romeo and Juliet.
Well, be honest, he's on the blob. All right, let's move on.
It's that time of
time in month for him.
Yeah, he started crying before when I was talking to him. He's like, "Leave me alone, I'm fat." I was like, "You can't, Adam, stop it. Come on, Adam, you're not fat.
Man up, son. Man up, son.
Beautiful on the inside too. Don't worry." God. Right. Anyway, I'm going to dive into what the hell type of news we're going to pull this week, which is just a very basic news. One of our good friends, Ed Bogrowski, I don't know if he's going to give us permission or not give us permission to mention the fact that he's got a new app appearing, and it should be appearing within the next week. Now, obviously because we're absolute legends and he loves us ever so bloody much, we get access to the app first because we're legends. You can all deal with it because we're legends. Now, he's cool. And the app he's releasing, I'm going to tell you this name is P.A.S.T, right? And that's all I'm going to say. What I'm going to say is he's the only person out there on the planet at the moment whose apps I actually trust to do exactly what they say in the tin. Some of them are absolutely useless. Some of them are a bit creepy. His app works, and it works perfectly fine. And the one that I like, which is the Paranormal Activity Logger, and I've looked forward to it. So yeah, that's me. Give us a second. Right, sorry about that. So yeah, nevertheless, he's got his new app coming out, and we're looking about 8 days' time. As soon as that comes out, we're going to post it up on the YouTube channel, post it up on the Facebook, Posted up on all social media so everybody's aware of it coming out. It looks brilliant. Can't wait for it. Nevertheless, finally, as a piece of little side news, we found literally just before we came on air, Art Bell, the legend from Coast to Coast AM. Whoever doesn't know who Coast to Coast AM is, that's absolutely creepy as hell, so I'm really surprised. So, first things first. A legend of the late night paranormal talk radio is returning to the airwaves, although in these modern times we'll probably hear them online. However, for those nostalgic for yesteryear, shortwave radio will be one of the many mediums that his show will be broadcast. Art Bell is a founder and original host of the late night paranormal show Coast to Coast AM. And Bell went into semi-retirement in 2003 with occasional guest host appearances up to 2010. Bell's fans were excited for his return when he began his new show, Sirius XM Radio. However, the show only lasted 6 weeks. The satellite radio show must have gotten Bell's creative juices flowing, because it's just been announced that he will be returning to the paranormal radio with an internet streaming show that is set to begin on July the 20th, 2015, and the show will be called Midnight in the Desert. And as the name implies, will begin at midnight and run till 3 a.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. midnight for those on the West Coast in the Pacific time zones. And unlike his last show, which could only be heard on Sirius XM, the new show will be broadcast on many mediums, allowing for listeners of several options to hear the show. Now, the rest of it just goes into that it's going to be broadcast for free. There's going to be subscriptions to archives. The be-all and end-all of it is, this guy is pretty much the granddad of paranormal radio. Coast to Coast AM is pretty much what everybody... Or Coast to Coast AM, sorry, is pretty much... It's the start of what we do. There was not much out there before these guys. These guys are pretty penultimate at what they've done. And Art Bell starting his own show again. It's well worth the wait. So I'll be tuning in. I don't know about you guys. That'll keep me on my toes.
I definitely will be.
I know you will be. You absolutely love all that type of stuff. I just love the name. The best part about people like that is they don't name the show. Like, I mean, we named it BTWN Paranormal because we just didn't think a short name was wise. We just went for the longest name we could possibly think of.
I take responsibility for our longest email, or our longest, what would you call it, our longest...
the longest URL, our web address, beyondtheWhiteNoiseParanormalRadio.com/BTWN/videocast/CR55.
Yeah, I take full responsibility. I got to fix that, dude. I've been promising that, and that's got to get done, because I just want BTWN.com or .net, whatever they have.
That works, don't you worry. There's worse we could do. I mean, it does keep our viewers and listeners engaged, because they have to physically type it out, and it's like a test to type out. Oh my god!
The humiliation of it all. I tell you, man.
I'm gonna test the water now and say, Steve.
Yes.
How's your week been?
Oh. Where do you want me to begin?
First off, a camera, and then we'll go from there.
No, I think if Steve's camera's not showing, I think it might be best, because then we may not get blocked.
It is actually quite fitting that I'm not actually on the show in person tonight with an image, considering what's happened the last 24 hours.
It's awesome.
I've give the listeners a brief rundown on what the hell is.
You know already. Yeah. What have you told them so far?
You broke it.
I didn't break anything.
You broke the internet, dude.
Kim Kardashian, the paranormal world.
Yeah.
You broke the internet.
You broke the internet, dude.
My gripe this week was basically with YouTube itself, and I couldn't care less if they're listening in right now, to be honest with you, because they need to hear exactly what I've got to say. I want to know why, for such a 10-second clip in a 45-minute video, that we got sanctioned on our other channel, our new channel, for something by a TV company which, from the looks of it, it only runs like children's TV stations, and why they're interested in something like Harp, for instance, which was on the Jesse Ventura Conspiracy Theory show, which is what we put up. It's 45 minutes long, that episode, first ever episode, and he sanctions us over a 10-second part of that clip. At that video in the first 15 minutes. Oh, that was in the first 15 minutes of it, and it's got me blood boiling under my skin even now talking about it. So, and it's
But Steve, one thing you're good at though, Steve, and I do give you a lot of credit, is you and this is props to you. Is the fact, dude, that you're very good at covering yourself. So whatever they noticed is what I'm thinking. Somebody else could have had it too, had that video out too, and they made this search for it. Anything with Jesse Ventura, and it really we just happened to get, the blank at the end of the stick. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying there, Kurt, but I kind of half agree with you in that sense. It may well have been that. It doesn't look like it's that, but it may well have been. I don't know whether it's something personal against Jesse Ventura himself, his team, his show, or whether it's got something to... I think it's got something to do with the content myself. And like you said, we've got the crappy end of the stick. So
yeah, but you still always do. I mean, all your videos you've put up, you're good. You're thorough in at what you do, so that way we don't get sanctioned for every video. You know how the game is played, and you play it well. That's all. I want to give you props on that.
Again, it's much appreciated. It's about staying ahead of the game, if you like. But it's just that this is right out the blue, like a smack in the face. And for something such a harsh punishment for a 10-second part of a 45-minute video, it doesn't make sense.
What, Steve? What was the part of the video? I don't know.
It was at the start of the episode. There was like a helicopter flyover of the HARP facility in Alaska, showing aerial footage of it.
And that's all we got. And that's what we got nailed on.
That's the bit we got nailed on. Yeah. Now that is actually used in that show at several different places, and in various different ways. But it was only that particular part at the very start that actually we got sanctioned on, and it was all to do with Turner TV's company. I presume it's Ted Turner, and I don't. You might not answer that case. I don't know.
Yeah, I could tell you a little bit about Ted Turner and his.
But it's really bugging me. It's really annoyed me.
Well, what can you do about it now? I mean, actually fix it. We can fix it in that. But on this note, let's bring on John Lindsay, Steve, real quick.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, you know what, right? Of all the people we've ever had on the show, there's only a very select few people who, when we've gone on mad wild tangents and we can see the camera in the corner when we're up on air, we can see the camera and we can watch it. And normally you see the people sitting there when we're talking away and we're just gasbagging about what the week's brought, and the person sitting there going, you can see them just go, what have they done? You can see, and the best part is you can see them going, you'll see them go, cover the microphone and go, and you can see them all confused, as if to say, what the hell have I let myself in for? And you have literally sat there like a trooper, as if to say, I've done it now, it's too late.
Nah, well, it's not my first rodeo. Trust me, if you work with the people I work with too, sometimes that's what we do. We just sit there and, hey, whatever.
Go along with the ride. I've been there. I've done that. My God, I've actually been on shows in the past where I've been interviewed and end up interviewing the person interviewing me. It's just this thing that we've done in the past. So I'm just going to say, if you're going to do that, please just warn me.
Okay. Well, I've been known to try and take over conversations, I guess. So.
Oh, dude, you're welcome. You're welcome to take over every conversation.
Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it.
Oh, dear me. So, right, we had you on when we were on the radio, and we were staring at the screen with no pictures on it back a long time ago. I remember the episode. It was really, really informative. But unfortunately, it was doused with absolutely terrible audio because, as you know, the older format we were using was useless, and we couldn't do anything with it. I dug up the podcast of the show we done, and again, it was destroyed due to the fact of a poor streaming server that we were using on the old one. So a chance to actually get you on and see it in person today, it's cool. I'm quite happy with that. But for those people who don't know who you are and what you do, it's your time. Go tell us all about yourself.
Well, I'm actually I do a lot of things, but it's never a simple answer with me. But I run a business actually called Paranormal American Scientific Tours. I've been investigating in some form or fashion for about 30 years, basically. And a number of years ago, actually, we were out doing an investigation out in New Mexico at the Express St. James in Cimarron, New Mexico. And I had my team with me on the way home. You know, it was funny because we had several people coming up to us and like, oh, are you the ghost hunter? We investigated till about 6 a.m. Yeah. About 8 a.m. somebody knocked on our door here, boom, 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 at the door, and I'm like, who in the world is that? I open up the door and there's these two really nice young ladies standing there, and they said, hey, are you the ghost hunters? And we're like, yeah, I'm half asleep, of course. I'm like, yeah. And they had this photo, and they wanted to show us, and I realized the father and the grandfather, it was a mother-daughter, had just passed away, and they were looking for, you know, something to say that, you know, hey, is this my father? Is this my grandfather? We had people wanting to take photos with us and everything. So on the way home back to St. Louis, I got talking to the guys that were with me, my team, and I said, hey, you know what? This would really be bucking the odds, but what would it take to get you guys out of the job that you currently are in? And I started deciding that we could do this actually as a business. So consequently, what we do is we actually travel all over the country, and we will book reportedly really haunted locations, and then we turn around and sell that time basically for people to come in. You get a lot of times you'll get access to you know, beautiful bed and breakfast, something like that, and yet at the same time we bill it as an opportunity to be a professional paranormal investigator for the night without having to spend thousands of dollars. We've actually in the process actually got on the A&E network, some stuff on PBS apparently, I guess, and we're actually working on 2 or 3 different TV show ideas of our own right now. So
cool. Lots
going on right now. I got a new team, some new people on my team that I really, things are really, we kind of retooled a little bit, kind of like you guys did there. Yeah. Really happy with my new team, and we're looking forward to getting started on our big public tour coming up here. We'll get started on July the 10th, I believe it is. Yeah, July the 10th up in actually Alton, Illinois, at the McPike Mansion on July the 10th, and then we kind of go out from there all over the country.
That's cool. Do you know what, right? I don't know what it is with July and June. Everybody in the paranormal community, it's like, that's like the Christmas for the paranormal world. Everyone does something around that time. I mean, I know we've got a good friend of the show, he's starting a show tomorrow, and we'll talk about that towards the end of this show. Apps are getting released, new pieces of equipment are getting released. You guys, again, you're taking a big step. It's just nice to see it, to be fair. It's nice to see that the hardest part with the paranormal field is progression. It really is a hard thing to keep going, because anybody, for everything you do, something else in your paranormal investigating world will sacrifice. So if you, like for us, for instance, when we started coming on air, we started doing the video cast, or the VidCast. When we started doing this, sadly, some of our investigations had to get put to a back burner because we need more time to make sure that this runs. And I mean, you guys have done it right. You've got the event set up. You've got the paranormal investigation still there because you're doing that as well. And you know what? Even with the shows coming along, it all seems to have fitted in perfect for you. So, I mean, I'll applaud that. It's a hard thing to keep going. A lot of plates to spin at the same time, and a new team as well. God help you.
Yeah, it is tough. Thank you, but I think we're going to be with the new people we brought in. Actually, we're looking better than ever right now. I mean, we still got some some of the old guys have been with me since the beginning around. Yes. And then I mentioned my son also. He's been investigating since he was 12, and he's taken a real active role. He's 16 now, and he's sort of the next generation coming up to do the stuff. So
that's decent. Do you have investigating with family, especially investigating with your son? How do you accept? I mean, does he become a team member, or do you still watch out a little bit more for him because he's your son?
Normally, I don't. Normally he's just kind of like a normal team member. We've had some instances where we do private investigations still, like all groups do, where somebody will call us in. And some time ago, we were involved in a. There's some people out there who, I'm not going to name names, but they do an investigation. Oh, it's a demon. It's a demon. I've been investigating one form or fashion for about 30 years, and in that time, I've only had one time confirmed that we know we encountered what we call a non-human pawned. And believe me, I always say, if you encounter one, you darn well know it. And that time, something like that, it usually does not happen for us.
Yeah,
that was a different story. I got a little really concerned for him, in that situation. I made everybody get out eventually. So, but normally, no, he's just like a normal team member because that's he functions just like one. In fact, he's really good with equipment setup, and he helps my equipment manager a lot. So,
what new methods, John, are you guys bringing in? Any new methods for investigation?
Yeah, there's a few ideas that we've been working on. There's one I don't know. I'm going to start trying this. We had a situation a while back. Everybody knows about battery drain and how that can manifest into the paranormal. How it can give energy potentially is something that might be going on. So we've started. We're getting ready to start. I'm going to bring in some big batteries and just try and see. Because it might sound odd, but as far as I know, it's not something that's really been tried a lot. And so we're going to do that because we sort of fell into that by accident where. But I don't want to give away too much of the specifics of it. But we had access to a huge battery, and we investigated that place multiple times, and we always had really good evidence. We had never had anything like we had that night. It was out of sight, and so that's something kind of a little bit different. I'm going to start trying. Other than that, we're always getting new equipment. It's nice because one of the gentlemen too that's investigating with us now has actually been doing it for a while. So he, with another group. So it's always good. We always work with other groups as well, and it's always nice to, who knows what kind of things you might come up with. So yeah. And I'm a big dog person, so I understand what's going on. Whatever's going on with your dog there, I hope everything.
No, me dog's being a big girl. Every time he hears a noise, he's yap 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 yap. He's evil.
The dog and the teddy bear. You got to watch out for that, Jonathan's house.
My son and daughter are on dog duty right now. If the dog.
Oh, okay.
I got a big Saint Bernard and a big Siberian Husky.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So.
Mine's massive. My dog is absolutely humongous.
Yeah. How big?
Biggest Shih Tzu you've ever seen in your life. That big. He's got little dog syndrome as well, so he thinks he can attack big dogs.
I'm gonna say so. Basically, he's a snack for my dog.
He's a snack for your dog. Yeah.
Oh dear me. Oh, but right. Nevertheless, as you were saying about batteries, it's impressive to see that you've actually jumped onto that because I know a few people have scraped past it in the past, and no one's put dedication into it. It's like, batteries, energy, right? Draw energy from my torch. And you're like, all right, no, do it properly. There's a million ways you could do it. Just do it properly. And I don't know, it's kind of a struggle, especially when you try new things, because the first thing you do is when you try something new, somebody will always try and shoot you down on it. Somebody will always have something negative to say. Somebody will always come back and he won't treat you with the most utmost respect with regards to obviously trying something new. But I mean, you're going to have to let us know how that turns out, especially definitely let us know how it pans out.
I definitely will. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's something we sort of came into by accident, and if you think about it, the concept works. They draw energy from how many times have anybody that's investigated for a while. How many times have you seen your battery drain and then something happen? This gives them an alternate way to try to draw energy.
The one thing that I've noticed is whenever I've been out anywhere and I've got some batteries I use for some of my camera equipment is excessive. I mean, on one of my cameras I use, which is a handheld night vision camera, the camera's about that long. It's a portable, like a Sony Night Shot, but it's modified. It's about that long, and the battery is about that long. And I swear to God, you put it on a tripod, it wants to pull the tripod over. That thing, you put the battery on it. Nope. It's embarrassing. You plug the battery onto it, it's got 900 minutes of battery life. You're like, okay, I'm not going to be recording for well over 12 hours. Are you messing? But in the same breath, I use like some of my smaller illuminators. I might use like 3 AA's, which are like 1.2 amp, 1.5 amp, 2,000, 1.5 volt, 2,000 milliamps, or maybe 1,500 milliamps, and then they'll drain in a matter of 2 or 3 hours. And I built my illuminators, and you'll think, no, they should last 9-10 hours. Yeah. But then you start questioning, did they put new batteries in it? Are the batteries are put genuinely new? You can't always rip them off to a packet, no matter how much you'd like to try. But unfortunately, sorry, being able to take a big massive battery with you, that's a luxury I definitely would suggest. And another thing I'd suggest is get yourself, the digital voltage readouts. I don't know if you've seen them. You can get 12-volt readouts on eBay for a couple of dollars. Get one of them and strap it and just strap it to the battery and see what happens. You can actually physically read it on the top, unless you've already got that plan in place, of course.
Yeah, no, that's a good good thing to think about.
No, right.
Definitely.
I'm going to.
That's why I say we always can learn so much from each other, and there's a lot of in the paranormal world. For some reason, I don't know why, but one thing I come into contact with is people who want to downplay stuff and kind of, to me, keep the paranormal in the closet, basically, and we need to be able to work with each other, and everybody's got different ideas, different viewpoints, so we always try to hopefully work with that.
Well, in the past, we've dealt with people who've been very, people who've been there for the wrong reasons. We've dealt with a lot of groups like that in the past. Personally, I have, and obviously the same with Kurt. We've probably done we've probably done the same. Me and Kurt have dealt with a few like that, and not being able to talk to an investigator who's doing the same thing that you're doing and trying to work along to the same common goal. People, I don't know. I can't work out why people can't just work together. I mean, as we stand now, we've matured a lot in the past 2 months as a show, as groups, as a team, right. And it's got to a point now we have no enemies, and if they are an enemy, they don't exist, and it doesn't bother me. Well, you've got loads apparently. I mean,
I'm saying not.
Yeah, whatever. You broke the internet. You can't get away from it.
I feel like I need to investigate what's going on there from a paranormal sense with the white noise and the voice that's sort of coming from nowhere. So
it's the guy that hide behind the curtain in Oz. It's just kind of that's who it is. We don't know yet either.
You guys might call it remarkably corny, but I call it Stevie P.
Stevie P.
Yeah, I know you would. But nevertheless, as I said, it's nobody shares, nobody. Well, when I say nobody, those people are really reluctant to, and me and Kate have been really blessed, and the full team, we've been really, really blessed with regards to some of the people that we've dealt with over the past 2 months. Every single person we spoke to has been there they're all on the right side, they're on the side that maybe we should all, hit the same drum, maybe we should all work together as opposed to working against each other, which obviously days of old we've dealt with people who've been like that. It's not about, it's very self, and it shouldn't be that. So it's refreshing to see that obviously we all can not be like east side and west side, for God's sake.
Yeah, and the other thing I find is sometimes people get really I get that when you get your evidence and something you think is evidence, it's a personal attachment to it. But the other thing I find that kind of is, I hope we can get away from, and that is that when somebody puts some evidence out there and says, "Hey, what do you think?" When you constructively break that down and say, "Well, no, what was the dew point that night? Well, here's the photo. Here's what you're actually seeing." I've had people sometimes lose their mind and like, you're stupid. How could you not? And it's like, how can you not? No, we don't. That's why we have to. And we always say we call ourselves at P.A.S.T. We call ourselves skeptical believers.
Yes.
And that's why we have to approach something. We're believers. Yes, we've seen a lot of things. We've recorded a lot of things. We've got a lot of. We've caught the 12-bite apparition on video that appeared on the A&E network. I've actually seen one before. And so there's all these experiences, but at the same time we're skeptical. We have to approach it that way, and that's why people need to do it.
John, where have you let's rewind real quick what you just said.
Okay.
Tell us about that apparition that you saw.
The one I saw.
Can you talk about that, or is that a private?
No, I can talk about that. Actually, we did a little mini. It wasn't a big one. It wasn't a big public one or anything like that. But a little mini investigation, kind of at the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone, Arizona.
Okay, yeah, I know.
I'm actually related to Doc Holliday, and
I was just reading his book at work. That's weird that you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually related to him, and that really, really stirred some things up at the Birdcage and in the town of Tombstone. By the way, if anybody's wondering, there's no doubt the town of Tombstone is very, very haunted. The things that we caught there. But we were at the Birdcage Theater, and I always wanted to see a full-bite apparition. I still want to see one in better form. But what I saw was, as we were talking to the lady, and she was walking us around downstairs, like they have the main theater part, and then downstairs they have. You know, like offices and things like that down there, and I saw what was like the shoulder of a person. They sort of like came around a corner and just went like that, and I just saw a shoulder of a person. Clearly they were walking, and I just kind of looked at it for a minute, you know. I didn't think too much, and I said, so who? Somebody else down in the office down there, and okay. Anyway, I said, yeah. I just was looking at that. Anyway, yeah. So I said, I said, you know, who else is down there? And she goes, because I'm the only one here. There's nobody here. And I said, there's nobody downstairs right there at all. Nobody in the office. And I said, you're sure there's nobody down there? And she goes, no. But did you see somebody walk down there? And I said, yeah. She goes, well, that's a claim that we have a lot of the time, that we still see, you know, movement down there and things happen.
Okay.
But
yeah, that place. Yeah, they said there was like a murder a day in Tombstone. I mean, even like the OK Corral wasn't fought in the OK Corral. It was more of an alleyway where they shot it out. But,
exactly.
Yeah, I'm history geek, so that's what I.
Well, I'm a Western history is my specialty, and when it's all said and done, sometime in the future, I plan on having my Ph.D. in history, English, and psychology. That's what I'm.
That is so cool.
Working towards. So I got a lot of work to do yet, but.
Okay, so. The Birdcage, that place, the guy got murdered recently there, didn't he? With one of the workers there.
The manager.
Yeah, I was hearing a little bit. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the story. I did see that, and so I don't know too much about what's happened there. Unfortunately, I'll probably look that up when we get off here and see if I can find out any more information about it.
You probably met, yeah, but I mean, going to the Birdcage. I mean, yeah, I saw it on and I will not mention the show. I hate the show, but I gotta mention it. When Ghost Adventures was at the Birdcage, and you know, they of course blew everything out of proportion, and somebody got attached to the prostitute picture on the wall, and I'm sitting there going, imagine that place like kicking off for real, like in the 1880s, 1890s, like in the middle, you know, the place just going crazy. You got gambling, brothel, you have shootouts, you got, you know, you got a bar. I mean, think about the energy and stuff like that that's left there. Whether or not you got killed there or not, it's still kind of residual energy.
Well, there's a lot of places. There's a lot of places. We do a lot of work out west, and there's a lot of places where and people don't realize, like for instance, the Express St. James in Cimarron, New Mexico. When we go there, they talk about the deaths that have happened there. For one, you got the shootouts and the different things and the whatever things that have happened inside the facility. You've got whatever happened out on the street that they might have brought somebody in. Plus, you got the fact that, you know, it wasn't exactly the glory days of medicine back then either. So you got people that died from illness, you know. So there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of stuff, and yeah, it's like I said, Western history is a fascinating area for me, and like I said, being in the you know, related to Doc Holliday, that really definitely stirred things up out in Tombstone.
Right. Okay. I've got a question with regards to being related to Doc Holliday. How did you come across finding that out? Was it something you've already known as a family, or was it a fluke?
No, actually, I found out from my family, an aunt of mine, and they had researched it pretty thoroughly. They, on one side, related to Doc Holliday, and on the other side, which this has been researched very thoroughly as well, my great however many times grandfather is John Coulter, who was on the Lewis and Clark expedition and founded Yellowstone National Park. So,
cool.
So there is some cool history in my family.
That's impressive.
That I know of.
That brings I know, it sort of brings it home when you realise, especially generation-wise, how, I mean, nowadays it sounds horrible to say, but we are a stupid group of people. We'll sit there, we'll look at the TV, we'll go on the internet. My son goes and plays football on his Xbox 360. He doesn't play football in the street anymore. Not hand-egg, football, just saying. Now, when it comes to it, when my granddad was a child, my granddad he was in the military. My other granddad, he was a farmer. he came over and done work over here, and the two of them have got really interesting stories when they were alive, and you think, you know, you'd be surprised what you miss out of in families. But again, nevertheless, that's a total digression. One question I did actually have to ask you, it's more with regards to media, because I know, as you said yourself, you're going more towards media at the moment, and there's been things as of late, like the Charlie Challenge is a classic example. Now, what's your take on that? And I know the Charlie Challenge, for people who don't know, it's where you cross two pencils across each other and write yes and no on opposite sides of the paper, and the pencil apparently will point at it. And a lot of people done it. I done it on the show. Now, I done it on the show in a more of an open opportunity to try something out. That was about it. But it came out that it was a cunning ploy for TV. There's a film coming out with regards to it, and it makes you realise how quick something viral comes along and it's false. Look at that alien picture, the Roswell slides that came out a couple of months ago. They got debunked and ripped to pieces in a day. And it's that type of stuff that kind of worries me personally, because you can't really trust any of the evidence that actually exists out there no more. But what's your opinion with regards to the way the evidence is going that's posted as of late?
Well, you've always got to take everything with a grain of salt, and no matter what it is, and be able to research things. You know, it's what you're talking about, the Charlie thing. I read some stuff about that, not a lot. I try not to pay too much attention to it, to be honest with you. But you think about it, go back over the history of your life. How many times, you know, there's always been something like that, you know, that comes along and it becomes kind of urban legend things, and stuff like that. So, you know, media can be such a great and wonderful tool, and it can be a negative tool as well, depending on what people do. And it's always got to be within the individual. You know, you guys got to look at it. You know, I mean, we're for instance, we talk about trying to get a TV show. You know, it's important what we do, and plus from the business side of things, we're technically categorized as an entertainment business.
Yeah, sadly.
So that's what we and you know, you say sadly, and I get that. I also, at the same time, I kind of wear that as a badge of honor as well, because I think that why shouldn't you be entertained? At the same time, the research to me is really critical and really important. So I never want to lose that, no matter what. I always want. I'm not going to fabricate something. I'm not going to make something out of nothing by any means. But we try to meld the two. That's another thing you talk about when people say, yeah, we're talking about people not working together. A lot of people want to downplay, you know, the TV shows and you know, say, oh, they're not investigators and everything. People need to realize what those TV shows actually have done in bringing our field actually out of the closet and you know, out of the backwoods of stuff. And I investigate for people in their homes a lot of times where they actually have told me, they said, you know, if it wasn't for the TV show, I wouldn't feel comfortable telling you all this stuff. And they've said that. They've said, you know, but now I feel comfortable. So and being able to say that. So. So I think that's. So I'm sorry.
No, keep going.
So I think it depends on how you do it. You know, we try to, like I said, meld the two together, where our research is critical to us. It's very important. But at the same time, if you come on an investigation with us, on a public investigation, we want you to know that you're going to have a great time. We're going to have fun, and you know, the TV shows we're working on, they sort of take elements each of my team members' character, and we sort of expand upon that, and hopefully make it fun, and that's what we're looking to do. And you know, when you watch Ghost Hunters, why do you watch Ghost Hunters? You watch it because you know, anybody that does watch that, I use that as an example. Why do you watch that? You watch it because it's fun. You know, you like to sit there and so, but we don't want to lose at the same time the importance of the actual research that we're trying to do as well.
Oh no, do you know, I totally agree with you, and I'm going to actually agree with you on what you said with regards to the shows. If it wasn't for Most Haunted, and you know what, you guys, I know the two co-hosts right now are going to moan at me about it. If it wasn't for Most Haunted, Ghost Adventures, Paranormal State, any of these shows, if it wasn't for them, yeah, shut up, Kurt. If it wasn't for these shows, we really wouldn't have how can I put it? We wouldn't have a gauge, a yardstick. We wouldn't have maybe that's what it could be, because the best way, and they're the first, the media and all the shows out there, they're the first people, I reckon, who actually believe in this, like it sounds really camp to say, but, you know, the paranormal unity thing where everyone gets along, because it's not as if on the shows they go, right, we've caught this piece of evidence, but we're not going to show you. Now, don't get me wrong, it is all rating and entertainment.
Yeah.
It is all entertainment based. I totally agree on that.
It is. It's all entertainment. Yeah, exactly.
It's perfect because they'll go out, and I know I'm going to use Ghost Adventures as a brilliant analogy. They'll come out with Ovulus 6 or whatever the hell it is this week, and they'll go, right, this piece of equipment, and they'll try it.
Like a planet of Star Trek.
Which? Ovulus 6?
Ovulus 6, yeah.
Yeah, you watch Star Trek too much. It probably is a planet, to be fair. But yet, nevertheless, they give it a go, and you know, Zach Bagans has got no problems walking around with a thing strapped to his forehead or something like a reflector or whatever the hell. He's got no problems doing it because one, he's trying the new equipment, whether it works or not, and then obviously some of the investigators out there, and it sounds sad, but some of the naive investigators will go and buy like the SLS-X cam without looking into what it actually does. Or yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, Kurt, I know you buy everything that's on Ghost Adventures. You're fan, but yeah,
I'm a tester of it. I don't like it. Story goes, John. Mo's calling me out. Yes, I've owned the Ovulus. What else, Mo, have I owned? You know this, Mo.
Trifield, K2,
Trifield, me, K2,
REM-Pod,
and I sell REM-Pod, and I sell everything after about 3 weeks of taking it out because I don't like it. It doesn't work. I don't like it.
How many GoPros? How many GoPros have you got?
Right now, I have 3 GoPros, 1 Silver Plus, my best one. I got 2 other ones, and then I got a knockoff GoPro. It's a Wi-Fi. So, but I got it set up where I have extended batteries on it. I bought. Oh my God, I got GoPro fetish, John. Bottom line, I got a GoPro fetish. Mo doesn't have to say it. It's everybody knows I got a GoPro fetish.
Well, that's actually something we need to get our own selves, actually, and we've got all, like I said, we've got all the equipment, and plus, you know, when we're doing public investigations, which is what, you know, our bread and butter actually as a business, like I said,
yes.
You know, people need to be able to have that equipment, see that equipment that they see on the TV shows, and you know, you talk about you know, Ghost Adventures. Like I said, it's all what you always have to be responsible as an individual, because I respect what they've done. I respect the fact that the business thing. There's certain things about what they've done that I respect, and I'm not here to talk bad about anybody. But again, we take it's all about the individual, because, like I said, they've gone to a lot of places, and it's their entertainment. They come out, oh, there's a demon, and so and so, and again, I mentioned in 30 plus years, I've encountered that one time, and we've been to many of the places that the Ghost Adventures crew has been to, and there are no demons. We've uncovered no evidence of demons. Sometimes we've been to them multiple times. So, you know, again, is it fun to watch for some people? You know, some people, you know, it's not my cup of tea in that particular show, but some people like to watch it, as long as you kind of separate the fact that, you know, appreciate what they've done, how they've done it, what they have done for the field. There's negative things, like I mentioned about, you know, media. There's always positive and negative. One of those negatives is you see a lot of groups pop up nowadays that are supposedly paranormal investigative groups, and some of the things that I see, and sadly that sometimes contributes to those other negative things we talked about in the field, where people don't get along with it when they should, and you know, take things too seriously and too personally sometimes.
No, I totally agree. We've got this thing at the moment, and I don't know how it's going to stand. Demonology. I don't know where you stand on that. Whereabouts are you?
Well, actually, where I am is a lot different than I was when we did an investigation about 3 years ago, and I mentioned it was. I've never encountered anything like what we encountered at that time, and there's no doubt we have a lot of proof and a lot of evidence of things that happened to us that we know that there was a demon there. We also believe there was a more heavenly presence, I guess, however you want to describe that, God. And we have a lot of evidence of that, and a lot of personal experiences of that. And after that event, I decided that it was something that I would like to delve a lot more into and know a lot more about, and be able to understand, because I think we helped this particular individual. From a psychological, you know, I mentioned I'm hopefully one of these years, I'm going to get my PhD in psychology, hopefully, and we helped her from a psychological perspective, I hope, and the fact that, just even in the fact that she had been experiencing these things for so many years and never had anybody that believed her, and that's a lot of it too, you know. I mean, when that kind of thing does happen, people that are not afraid to get in there and try to get whatever proof they can, and help these individuals who were maybe suffering through something that, and she told me, she said it has been with her since she was born. I can't imagine living with that since she was born.
Have you ever came across people in that sense that actually have a mental illness? And you, by the way, you know, you sit down with your questions, and then you're like, wow, this is kind of something. It's kind of, I got to tread light on this. Let's say they've been seeing this, or they haven't slept for days, and they're hallucinating, and their mind's racing. And have you come across a lot of that?
Yeah, I have come across some of it. There was one in particular instance where I was really concerned that it was an older lady that it's funny because they're actually half the family, I guess, apparently was trying to claim that she was, I guess I wanted her committed, you know, wanted her sent to a home, that they said she was, you know, having dementia issues and everything. And the other half said, no, this woman's as bright as she's ever been. She's, you know, so yeah, sometimes you got to tread lightly in those situations, but that's why I talk with them. You know, we always sit down and do like a pre-post interview. In those instances where we are going into a private residence to do something, and that's a little bit different than the business side because we never charge. You know, it would be unethical to charge to go in and do a private investigation. We don't do anything like that. That's not what we make our money at. That's just going in and trying to help and being kind of, that's sort of the pure evidence of the paranormal that we look at and talking to people. And so, you know, we do that the pre and post interview, and then that's why we deal in what we can prove, and that's it. You know, if we have the personal experiences, and there are times where you have to, you know, the fact of the matter is, I'm one of my businesses is, as you know, lecturing on bipolar disorder, but I'm not, in fact, a psychologist. So I know a lot about it. I know how to, you know, the mind works and how to help people, and so, but I got to be careful I don't cross a line that, you know, I'm trying to psychoanalyze somebody, and so, but it helps a lot, and that's what I love about the 3 degrees I'm finishing up working on is English, history, and psychology. All three of them, to me, all three of them are very critical when it comes to doing my job in the paranormal.
Okay, Steve, sorry for interrupting, guys, but yes, Steve, you had a question, didn't you?
Yeah, it's actually from a friend of mine who's actually watching via the YouTube app on the Xbox I told you about earlier on. Jill Cassidy from St. Helens over here in the UK wants to know, John, if you have ever used a ghost box, or if you have one, and do you use it?
No, actually, somebody utilized one time. We don't generally utilize them too much. We try to stick with things that, to me, the scientific evidence to me is a little bit sketchy on whether or not those actually work or not. You know, I mean, you see things, you get things, and I've heard things on them, but to me, it doesn't from my business, P.A.S.T, Paranormal American Scientific Tours standpoint, official standpoint, that doesn't give us enough credible evidence of something. So, you know, we deal more in audio evidence and photographic evidence that's you acquired through other means. Is
it fair to say then that's something you touched on along with everyone else at the same time and just moved on from it?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Was something that was a piece of equipment that you touched on?
We did. Yeah, we did. We try all kinds of things. You know, I'm a pretty open book, and I'm a pretty open guy about everything that I do. And I always tell my team I'm always going to be 100% honest with you about everything, and try to be as open as possible. So I'm open to trying all kinds of things. People have asked me if I would bring a psychic in. Again, I don't want to discredit people who claim that they're psychic or nothing. That's just not the way we do. But again, if one wanted to come along on an investigation, I'd be happy to, you know, hear what they had to say and that kind of thing, and maybe they could help us acquire actual evidence. But you know, we deal on what we can prove.
I got a chance to build 2 of them, the ghost boxes. I built 2 last year, just like the sweeping radios. I built 2 just to see how they'd work out, and I tried them in so many different situations and got absolutely 0 off them. But in the same breath, I passed them to somebody who tried them and got something within 30 seconds. And they were totally detuned. Now, I was never 100%, and I'm sorry if the individuals listening, all apologies, I'm not having a dig at the way you've ran it, but I tend to struggle to believe pieces of equipment that, and this is more I've learned this more recently. I'm struggling to believe in pieces of equipment which have been retrofitted to do a job that they were never intentionally designed to do. Which is struggle. I mean, like we've had a guest in the past, and somebody we affiliate quite well with is a group of people from Italy making a piece of equipment called the Ghost Ark, and absolutely every single part of what they're doing. Everything they've built has been specifically built and designed with a paranormal investigator in mind, and it's really smart. Even down to, as I said earlier on, the apps have been designed with a paranormal investigator in mind. And then when some of these pieces of equipment are coming out, like the REM pods made to pick up seismic activity, or moths 500 meters away and stuff like that, I struggle to work out how they may be able to help. Now, the only thing we've ever seen which actually does have any form of help is cameras.
Yeah, I was gonna say full spectrum cameras I think are a little bit different in that case. But even the full spectrum cameras, I often wonder, would we get the same evidence from a normal camera? Because think about it, we don't really have that, because you take a picture. If I take a picture with my full spectrum camera or a full spectrum video and I get something, great, wonderful, perfect. But if I was using that, then by definition I couldn't have been using a regular camera. So a lot of times I wonder how many times would the regular camera still be able to pick that up. But certainly, obviously, we all use the full spectrums, and we've got the 8-room night vision DVRs, all that stuff, and so we use all the and I do think that because that's scientifically credible that there are light waves you can't see with your naked eye. So I mean, there's a lot of that. You always have to look at I'm not a scientist, but we always say we try to apply the scientific approach to things, and so there's a difference, and that's what we that's kind of how we do that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, you're talking about cameras, you're talking about gear and kit, as Mo pronounces. How much do you rely on your own senses?
A lot, actually, and I always tell people that I'm not psychic. I don't claim to be a psychic. I am a sensitive a little bit, and the reason why I say that is because I think we all are, in a way, when we start as children. How many times do we hear reports of a child say, how many the children say, who's that guy talking to mommy or standing by mommy or something, and what happens when you get to kindergarten age is about the time it really starts. You go in there and you carry these things with you, and people start telling you right away because they don't want you to be scared. Oh, honey, there's no such thing as ghosts. There's no such thing as ghosts. Well, by the time you become an adult, well, of course, there's no such things as ghosts. I've been told that since I was 4 or 5 years old. That there are no such things. But the more you investigate, the more things sort of open up to you, and you sort of get back to where you were as a child. And there's a lot of times where I have felt something. Again, we can't prove a feeling, so I'll get a feeling about something, and I'll say, hey, you know what? Like maybe if we got a kid, like a couple kids with us, I'll say, hey, you know what, Joseph, my son, I said, why don't you take so and so and go into this room, and it'll happen. They'll get a lot of evidence. It's happened lots of times.
Yeah, I agree. It's like in a sense, it's like the two separate feelings could be like the gut instinct. I'm saying, we all get a gut instinct, and it's not and I'm not saying psychic. You get, or naturally we can get a gut instinct or fight or flight.
Yeah, right. Just putting in their case on that. I can understand what you mean. I used to get a gut feeling when doing an old security patrol on the site I used to do a few years back. And on a particular floor in the building I was doing, I can't name the building because obviously the type of building it was.
Okay.
There was a particular part of the floor whereby it just didn't feel nice walking past it at all, especially during a night patrol. And it was just one of them, like, go in, do your patrol, and get out as quick as you could. It was like that gut feeling that something really bad had happened in that area. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Just to point out exactly what you were saying there, Kate.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say I'm a big fan of Stephen King as a writer, and I know he talks about some experiences he's had where he's got a really good point about how many times we're walking and we see something or feel something or whatever, and our initial instinct is, what the heck was that I just saw or just heard or that feeling or whatever. But then again, those feelings that have been those things that have been ingrained in you since you're a small child, there had to be something that was nothing. I didn't really see that. And so by doing, like I said, for me, what I've encountered is each investigation I do. I've done so many of them now at this point that feeling starts to come back to you again, to where you're open to, so now consequently I don't jump at everything. That's not what I'm talking about. You don't jump at stuff, but be open to exploring that sort of gut feeling that you have, and say, can I prove this now? Can I prove this now? That's the question. Can I prove this?
When it comes to that penultimate time when you do see something which you cause, I mean, I've had many a conversation with people out there who would love to have got into paranormal investigating but just don't have the guts, or they just feel like maybe it'll be a bit not what they're looking for, and they always say, what would you do if you saw something? And you know what, my reaction today, as opposed to my reaction the first time I ever went out anywhere, would be totally different. No, my first reaction was, I started looking behind me when I thought I saw something, and I got really nervous. I was like, looking, and then now there's been times where you catch something out the corner of your eye, and as opposed to panicking, you go, right, did I see that? What was it? What did I see? And as opposed to thinking I'm going to scream and run like an episode of Scooby-Doo, you sit there and start psychoanalyzing what's gone on. I mean, how do you guys take to that? You just said your approach has changed, but is it something which has progressively changed, or is it something which you've just sort of instilled into yourself as of late?
No, I'd say it's a progression. And by the way, speaking specifically to your question, to the first part of what you're saying there, any of your viewers out there who are feeling anything like that, that's why that's exactly one of the big reasons why Paranormal American Scientific Tours was created as a business, because we've got all the equipment, we've got all the stuff, we've got the expertise, we've got the we've got the years of experience between us all, and like I said, we always bill it as an opportunity for our customers to come in and spend the night being a professional paranormal investigator without having to spend thousands of dollars. So look us up, because we're going to be all over the place. We actually do. It's actually being worked on right now. It's a long story. I had a guy working for me, and he sort of kind of abandoned us basically, and we had to he took some of our past stuff with him. But it's going to be
paranormal. Assassinate him.
What's that? The webpage is going to be www.paranormalpast.com. We're also all over social media, Facebook, Twitter. We'll be posting things up there, and going back to on your question as well. Yeah, it definitely. If you're not growing, then you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. You guys don't. Each show you do, you're gonna take in something different. You're gonna say, hey, we tried this, but this didn't work. But let's try this. And if you're not growing, then there's no point in doing it.
Have you been following us since we actually started on this? Because we've already been banned off one bleeding channel this week.
Oh yeah, well I heard a little bit about that. So,
oh God!
I know. Well, for a while well, for instance, you went into video. That's a different way to go.
Yeah.
So you weren't doing that before, and that's a new avenue for you to explore. We're always looking for new avenues to explore. Like I said, if not, what are we doing here?
If you don't do something new, you'd end up you'd end up sort of
dead in the water, right?
Yeah, effectively, you'd end up you might as well.
It's probably the best way to put it.
Stagnation. You just stop, and I mean, you guys, you keep doing what you do, and I mean, every time we've spoke, it's always been something new and something different appeared. I think it's brilliant, and I mean, we've had guests on in the past where we've said, "So what's new?" And they've gone, "Well." We got an MP3 player which records audio, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, where do we go from there?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's not even new. There's nothing. No point in talking to them again if you talk to somebody and they've done. They have the same stuff, and like I said, and our schedule's always changing. We're going all in new places, and we're always looking for new places. And by the way, if anybody has any other place, I always get people telling me, "Hey, have you tried such and such place?" And I'm always open to trying new places. That's why I say whenever people ask me what, I feel sorry for my kids because they say, "What does your dad do?" Like, well. How much time do you got? Because I've actually ventured into a new thing as well, where I'm looking at doing some location scouting for motion pictures, and so
cool.
I'm looking to do it. I'm looking to get into that. So like I said, I last count, I think I'm running 4 and working on 5 businesses now, I believe. So what
you're saying to me is you will sleep when you're dead. basically.
I don't sleep a lot in general, so.
Between Steve and John, you and I make up, I think, in our sleep schedule, dude.
Yeah, do you know what? We're under the impression, Steve, me and Kurt had a long-winded conversation yesterday, kind of worried about Steve because we couldn't contact him for a fair bit, and we kind of came to the conclusion that he's a vampire, and he just
hangs from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Can I just clear up? Not the vampires that are in Twilight.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, he is in Twilight. Is that what you said, bro?
He twinkles. Yeah, he twinkles.
He swore then. Stop it.
You know, and the same as in Twilight, he's been genetically designed to be desirable to all women, and that's exactly what it is. If he takes his t-shirt off now, there's a six-pack there.
It's not a six-pack, mate.
It's a keg.
Yeah.
He's got a brewery up there somewhere.
It's well paid for. Very proud of it.
Yeah, see, this is that entertainment thing we were talking about. See,
yeah.
So hopefully your viewers are entertained, and hopefully when they come with us with P.A.S.T, they'll be entertained as well. We like to.
Oh, indeed.
Have fun. So.
Now, you guys have got a few new places in mind. I'm going to ask you more of a historical question, right?
Okay.
You've gone to some pretty penultimate places. Bobby Mackey's being one of them, amongst many others. Is the one investigation that you guys have done as an event where at the end of it you've gone, Jesus Christ?
You know, that's a hard question. There was one specific location. Before I tell you that, I'll tell you we went and investigated one specific location that if I told you the name, you look up any 10 most haunted list in the nation, it appears somewhere in the top 10, and usually probably somewhere towards the top. We went in there and we debunked every single claim, and you know, the initial response was we were really disappointed. But then I got to thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? No, why would we be disappointed? It shows that how we progressed and how professional we are, that we didn't get taken in by that, you know. Yeah. But when it comes to what you're saying, yeah, there's a lot of places. I'm always looking for that next place. I mentioned the Birdcage Theater. That was one of them. I wish we'd have had more time, and we are going to be going back there. We're going to be going into Lincoln, New Mexico. There's a lot of stuff going on there. I've researched a lot about Billy the Kid, the Lincoln County War.
Lincoln County War, yeah.
So, and then one that stands out to me the most was the one that I said was a private investigation. And, you know, it's when we go, I always want to tell people when we hold public investigations, you know, people who worry about, well, what I might encounter, and, you know, sure, there's going to be places we go where there's maybe some spirits that haven't been that nice, but for the most part, there's a reason why there are being public investigations, and that is, you know, we've gotten really good evidence, but it's nothing that's really threatened us or harmed us for the most part, that kind of thing. Whenever you get a call from somebody and they start saying things like, it's been with me since I was a kid, you know, there's certain things, certain catchphrases I know to watch out for, and that one, it was in the state of Indiana, and it was a private residence, and I'll never forget that one. And then beyond that, you know, Bobby Mackey's was interesting. We didn't get a ton of stuff from Bobby Mackey's. I had a really big personal experience there that I'll always carry with me. The Express St. James in Cimarron, New Mexico, that always stands out. Almost every time you go to the St. James, there's some kind of evidence.
You ever done the Axe Murder House?
I've already met that was one that
nothing really.
We didn't get anything there.
Yeah, it's so small though. It's such a small location. You could only bring in like 3 to 4 people at a time.
It's very small. It's very small.
You know, so
there was only one thing we did get there. We debunked the major claims at the Axe Murder House. I don't know if I should say that, but I guess we did. And like we found things like there were little small, very little small holes up in the attic, and this is western Iowa. It gets pretty doggone windy in western Iowa. And so when the wind would blow through, I mentioned not being a scientist. I'm not a physicist, but it doesn't take a PhD in physics to think about airflow patterns and what things might be doing. And you know, one of the big claims was the kid's door would open and close on its own, and the attic door would open and close. And I thought, you know, it's odd that both of these two places, and like about this proximity, have that claim. And so sure enough, we watched, and there was a time where a fairly good breeze came up. The attic door opened and closed just a little bit, and about about 2 seconds, maybe second and a half later, the kid's door opened a little bit, and it closed enough that you heard bam. You know, you
so it's
did
like
hear
a suction kind. It was that
exactly.
suction, yeah.
And the thing of it is a lot of people who go to the Villisca Axe Murder House, you know, they go there and maybe they've been drinking. They want to say, hey, we stayed the night in the Axe Murder House, and you know, you're sitting there 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you hear bam, the door is slammed. You're not going to stop and think, now wait a minute, why would that have happened? You know, what were the and so we debunked that. Now the one thing that we did have at the Axe Murder House was we had to throw it out. It was a pretty impressive piece of evidence, but the problem is we had to throw it out, and that is that we were all. You mentioned how small it is, and it's a very difficult place to investigate because of its size and the way noise carries. And so a bunch of my guys were standing right at the doorway, and I was in the kitchen. And the K2 did go off, so that was something. There's no electricity there that would have made it go off. No, so the K2 meter goes off, and I said, I forget the woman's name that owned the home, but I said, is this Mrs. So-and-so? I thought, well, it's a kitchen, you know. I said, are you here with us? And my guys are still kind of talking, you know. And I said, well, and at first I mentioned those senses you get. Well, I got the sense that it was something really dark there, and it wasn't her. And so I said, if there's anybody here that doesn't want us to be here, I said, somebody who caused a lot of harm to this family, I said, I want to first of all let you know that we're not afraid of you. And right after I said that, we got a big EVP that was loud as can be, that this voice says, yeah, you are. Like that. So, but, you know, when it's one of those things, you've investigated, you know, when there's other noise interference and everything else, you know, sadly, we had to throw it out. It would have been nice if we'd have gotten that. It would have been really quiet, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So we ultimately say we didn't get anything. But you know, other than that one little piece, but again, we had to throw that one out. So
yeah, it gets frustrating when you have to start ditching evidence. I sort of struggle with it when sometimes a bit of too much noise pollution in the background. You have to just ditch it, and you think perfect evidence, binned. It's terrible. But
yeah, it is. That was frustrating because I asked everybody, and everybody said, no, that's not me. That's not me. It's not me. But then at the same time, we're like, I can't be certain that it wasn't him. You know, I can't be certain that it wasn't. You know, some people were like, I don't think I said that. I can't be certain. Well, as soon as you say, well, I can't be certain I didn't say it, well, you got to throw it out.
No, it's evil when you can't be sure. Then you know. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of groups out there who, even though they get just that little bit of audio and they can't be sure, they will still post it, and they make me cringe. They really do, because that's not helping us. It's not helping a cause that we're actually going for. We're not going for the same common answer or the same common result. And every once in a while, someone will come along and really ruin it for us. So we sort of have to fight our corner, sadly. So we're aware on you've got the shows coming up on A&E, PBS, and what was the next one on?
We've been on the A&E network. It's still, I'm sure it's probably out there somewhere. Actually, people can see the video that we caught. If you want to go to, it's posted on YouTube. All you got to do is just go Express St. James Cowboy video, and you'll see the full-bite apparition that we actually caught in New Mexico. And I'm sure that I don't know what the archive would be, but I'm sure, like I said, it is on the A&E network. I know I personally have the episode, so yeah, I could always. I don't know what the legality of that is when you send that to somebody, but
get on this sort of trick, Steve. You absolute bloodhound. Can you find it for us and post it up on our channel?
Give me a second.
The video you can post up, like I said, that's just Express St. James Cowboy video. That was the video we caught, and then of course was on my Ghost Story on A&E network. Like I said, that evidence has been up other places, from what I understand. We're actually working right now. I've got a agent that thinks we've got a pretty good idea for a couple. I've got 2 really good solid ideas for a show, and then I've got another gentleman who's actually working on his own deal, and he's looking for a paranormal team to join him on that show, and so we're in talks about that potentially as well. So lots of things going on, and then in the meanwhile, like I said, we've got some great public investigations that are going to be coming up. I mentioned we're going to be in Alton, Illinois on July the 10th. That sort of kicks it all off at the McPike Mansion. We've been there lots of times. Had some really good evidence there. The last time we were there doing a training investigation, we had some great evidence. People can watch for that, and then anybody that would be in the area there. And then we're going to be all over the place. Beyond that, I mentioned we're going to be in Lincoln, New Mexico. I'm talking to a lot of different people about locations. We're going to be at some point in time going to the Lindsey boarding house in Fall River, Massachusetts. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Cool. That should be good.
John,
yes.
To interrupt you there, mate. Is it the 10-second video or the 7-minute one?
It's the 10-second one. If it's what the one on YouTube would be. It's a very short little deal. So if that's the.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the one. Now the A&E network one, actually, of course, the thing runs a lot longer, but that's just the 10-second one is the actual. That's probably about what it would be on the YouTube.
We could screen share this month.
We can't, mate. No, unfortunately, the screen share doesn't work through on the outside chat. But as I said, after the show, we'll have a little talk, and if all's well, we'll post a link up to it on our channel for. Sure. But and the
A&E network one was just I don't know what episode one that was of my ghost story that I was on that, but I know that was it's like I said, it's on. It was from about 3 years ago that we appeared on the A&E network, and then like I said, that evidence sort of got scattered around all over the place at that point. So.
Yeah, we just need to be very, very careful though, because knowing our luck, we post up A&E and then
we are just busted.
Steve get us busted on this channel as well.
Yeah.
Why keep getting the blame for that?
Well, hopefully pretty soon we'll be. Hopefully pretty soon in the near future we'll be on a regular episode on one of those channels, and we'll be able to talk about stuff. So.
I am really looking forward to it. I mean, it's a refreshing change to be able to speak. Obviously, and when we've spoken in the past, it's a refreshing change to speak to somebody with the head screwed on and who has a plan, as opposed to just going into an old building and going, let's go and find something scary. You've got a plan, and I like that. That works for me. It works for. No, it's cool. It's wear it like a badge. Well,
I told Kurt, I said don't worry, when we become really big and rich and famous, don't worry, we're still always going to come back and talk to you. So.
Oh, that's cool. I always thought that was cool.
Yeah. Do you know what? We are sometimes the stepladder to success. This show. People come on next minute.
There you go.
Next minute they're making paychecks for investigating, and we're still sitting here going, "We got to do it for free, man. We can't afford anything."
Too busy buying all kinds of toys. Like,
now you never know. We might always have some kind of position open up there, so you never know.
Like I could be cleanup guy, Mo could be fluff boy.
But you got to have, you got to have some people do the work you don't want to do.
It's true.
Yeah. Hey, I've been a bitch before. I'll be a bitch again. Oh my god.
Hey, I'm kidding, man. I'm just so kidding. Poor Steve sitting there going, "What'd he just say? What'd he just say?"
I'm not interested.
He's
that's gonna be
Xbox.
That's gonna be another trouble spot. Probably we'll see, but hopefully not.
It's all in good fun. It's all in good fun.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, I mean, as I said, we're sort of coming. We've got like 10 minutes left in the show now. So what we're going to do is just a little bit of a tiny wind down. We're going to work out now what you've told us a bit about what's going on in the future for you, but you mentioned a few of the locations that you're going to be looking at as well. Did you mention the Lindsey boarding house?
Yeah, that's we're going to go there at some point. I'm looking forward to. I don't know what the specifics are going to be at that yet. I've got to continue talking to some people and find out, some of the details. I know the way we function as a business actually is from the business side of things. We book these locations. I talk to people. I negotiate the rate down as low as I can, and then I got to do some sort of cost structure analysis and see. I don't want to charge somebody an arm and a leg. You can always know as a customer, if you're a customer with Paranormal American Scientific Tours and you come on one of our investigations, we're going to give you the best rate we possibly can.
Oh, indeed.
We also offer military discount and that kind of thing. So in the past, I wasn't able to physically make that work because the cost structure didn't work. The amount of money that they wanted versus how much, because we always pay for those locations. So if we have a thing at a big bed and breakfast or something like that, we have paid for the location. We have the whole location locked down. And then what we do is we turn around and we resell that. So the same way you could go to a bed and breakfast and say, "Oh, I'm going to book like for instance, the Yellow Store in Lincoln, New Mexico. I'm talking with them, and that's where we're gonna have something coming up there. You know, you could go and book that room for the night, or you can go and book that room, pay a little bit more, and be involved in our investigation for the entire night. And that's kind of what we do. So there's a lot of places I would love to go to, and unfortunately, I just can't keep the cost down for my customers enough. So
Hey,
so that's what we're working on.
If you go to Gettysburg, can I show up with all my GoPro cameras?
Sure, we'd love to have you. We're definitely going to
show up with all GoPros and a couple recorders.
We're definitely going to do some stuff. We're definitely going to do some stuff in the Gettysburg area. That's something that's been on our radar.
That's awesome.
We travel all over the place. And, so, what's that? I'm
Just
sorry.
saying to kids, just get down there, get involved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You don't want Kate on your team. Just saying.
I'll get in trouble. I'll do something
Someone's got to
stupid.
be the water boy.
I'll pull something stupid. I'll say something to someone,
you
and I'll be like, "Why'd I just say that?" You know.
Oh, God.
But I will have
You know
the
what,
most GoPros ever.
One question I do have to ask you now: Am
Sure.
I right in believing that the equipment that you have for your team is the equipment you also let the guests use?
Exactly. Yeah, I've actually seen some things before. Some really ridiculous things where people, you know, gave their customer, because there's really not a lot of people doing what we do. There are a few, but not a lot. We're kind of unique as a business that we're doing this.
Yes.
And the one I've seen times before where people gave their customers, you know, like a place maybe employed them, and so they were doing their whole thing, and they would give you like, well, the biggest one, of course, when they give you dowsing rods. That's just not it.
Lemp Mansion. I saw it in Lemp Mansion. I witnessed that firsthand.
Or they give you, in some cases they'll give you like a little homemade IR or something, you know, whatever. They'll give you little different things with it, you know, and so but then I've seen places like that where they give you that, but then they make a big deal out of, oh, we've got this thermal imaging camera and so on. So, and I've even seen where they show it. This is our thermal, and they don't want, you know, that equipment's expensive. Let's face it. That, you know, you know, a $2,500 piece of equipment, and they say, well, we don't want people to do it. We were created specifically for people to get their hands on the stuff and use it, and that's it.
How many thermal imaging cameras do you guys have total?
Well, thermal imaging camera at the moment, we just have the one thermal imaging camera. But when it comes to like our full spectrum, we're gonna be getting some more coming up. But when it comes to like full spectrum cameras and things like that, we have several of those. We have about 15 of those.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
Right.
Go ahead, Mo.
I'm gonna reiterate something you've just said there. Yeah, we've just got one thermal imaging camera. just got one, you know.
Just one. Yeah, we're sitting there going, slobber coming down our face.
Yeah, I've just got one £3,000 toy. Yeah, you know. Well, maybe see me Ferrari outside.
Well, when it comes to the other things like the full spectrum cameras, we usually try to have enough for. Maybe not enough for everybody to use every time, but everybody will use them, and we've got about 15 of those at last count. I have to look at my inventory, and we're always trying to. We got lots of recording devices. We got a couple that amplify sound in real time, and you know, you mentioned about equipment things. That thermal is, you know, it's indispensable in the fact that anytime you're using the same technology that you know, the firemen use to find bodies and things, and so consequently the science behind the thermal camera is, you know, really, I think, second to none when it comes to research. So you understand things. Go ahead.
Have you come across the thermal imaging one, the one on with the what's it called, Mo, again?
The FLIR one.
The FLIR one. Yeah, because there's another one too, the Seeker or the Seer, one of the two. Have you seen that? Have you ever used that?
I've seen them. We actually have our thermal is a FLIR. It's a little bit older model of the FLIR, but and it works really well. But some of them that are the technology behind some of them is great, where you got the video that runs along with it and everything. So yeah, I've seen them. I've gotten my hands on a couple of things, but and we're. Like I said, we're always increasing our inventory of stuff, so those are all things that I'd like to put on our inventory to get.
You kind of have to, don't you? That's the worst part about it, because the way technology goes, it's kind of it's either it's like do or die. If you don't buy the new equipment, then you don't know if it's going to work. You don't know where you stand unless you care, and you just buy what's on Ghost Adventures. But I mean,
well, one of our big things. One of our big things we're working towards right now is actually we need to get some really good professional quality video stuff that I'm looking at, and some of those cameras are like $30,000 cameras, you know.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I've spoke to a gentleman today who had a name. He works for a film company in Britain who works on like the soap operas we have in Britain, and one of the lenses they've got is a Sony lens. It's £40,000.
Yeah.
Hold on, just the lens, Mo?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This lens has got 5 pieces of glass in it, which costs £40,000.
Yeah,
that's like $55,000 ish.
Jesus.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, luckily I do have some good connections. So I've got a gentleman. I've got actually a couple of connections with gentlemen who actually produce movies and film. You know, so they've got some camera. I got one guy that's hopefully going to come out and maybe produce a little sizzle reel for us, and I've got some music I'm working out already and all kinds of stuff. So we're working towards it. We're working towards it. That's for
Don't take it off of YouTube. I swear, don't take anything off of YouTube, John. You'll pay the price.
Oh God, yeah. Don't copy any footage. You'll be fine. Well,
actually.
You're welcome.
I'm actually looking at. I've already actually kind of looked into it because one of the songs is it's a recorded song that's been out there for a while, and I've already kind of looked into what it's going to take to kind of acquire the rights to be able to use that. So
yeah,
a lot of things to consider. Yeah, a lot of things to consider.
Right. Well, the bad news is we are coming to the end of the show. We've only got a few minutes left. So what I'm going to do is, can you do us a favour? Do you have? Do you know what the address to your Facebook group is, or your Facebook page? Or is it just a case of searching?
It's paranormal. I don't honestly remember the exact address of it. I know that, like I said, watch for us at www.paranormalpast.com. That's coming up. I can send you the. Send you all that information and send you the link if you want to put it up there. Like I said, on Facebook, we're just we're on Facebook. I know it's like I said, just Paranormal American Scientific Tours, Paranormal American Scientific Tours, and you can find me also on Twitter. It's at P.A.S.T John Lindsay, I think it is on Twitter, and so we go by, like I said, that acronym P.A.S.T. There you go. That's our actual team page there. So that's our actual team page right there. So, in fact, you can see that one right there. Actually, that was taken in the house in Indiana. That was
wow.
If you want to show that again, we're talking about thermal cameras and you have the ability to. Actually, one of my investigators. That's where you see the red around there and all that. It's actually a picture frame, and it was a picture frame. And one of my investigators had the thermal imaging camera. And that was standing behind her. You see with the arm going out, and clearly it's some kind of a human-type figure clearly standing behind her. And we tried several times to, duplicate that to see if we could, if it happened to be one of us. But nobody was standing anywhere close to her, so we couldn't duplicate it.
You know what's interesting about that still image there, just before we go, is that it looks mostly to be the same shade of green. Which, going by, if you just move your case out the way there, Mo, so we can see the scale on the bottom. It's between I'd say around about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, roughly.
Yeah.
By that scale there. Or is that what it's registered there? 72.1. At that point.
Yeah, I know. There you go. Okay.
But yeah, no, it's really impressive. And you know what? It's the fact that you can pull that type of evidence with what you're doing. It's really, really impressive, and especially I like the fact that
if you look at the picture right next to that, real quick, if you've got time, the other side, that one right there, that one. That was, if you can see those, I don't know how well you can see that, but those were scratches that formed on his arm as I was standing there watching him, and he wound up with 10 major scratches on his arm, 5 really big ones that went all the way across the arm. It was enough that he had blood going all the way down his arm. And it's one thing seeing it on a television show. It's another thing entirely when you see it happen right in front of you.
Did he say it was basically? Did he feel like heat or anything else?
No, actually, the only thing he said was about 2 minutes before it happened. He goes, "Man, my arm really itches." And then I was actually letting him listen to a piece of audio of an EVP. I said, "Listen to this." I'm sitting there with the flashlight on him, and I said, "Dude," and he's looked at his arm. He's like, well, that's weird. So, and they were just forming right there, you know. So
that's creepy, man. That's real creepy.
Yeah, that was.
What can you tell me about this?
I'll have to tell him that he was. I'll have to tell him he's famous again. Actually, that was when we went out and filmed for the A&E Network out at the Express St. James in Cimarron, New Mexico. That actually is my ex-cousin-in-law, and he's a good friend of mine. And in fact, he just got married, so congratulations for him getting married.
Congratulations!
But he actually they needed to fill a role of the lady who ran the place of her friend, and so they filmed him, and his reaction was, it was supposed to be he was reacting to a door slamming shut. Yeah, and his reaction was just hysterical. It was funny and
like
one of the. But unfortunately, it found the editing room floor, so he actually never appeared on the A&E episode because it was edited out. So I have to tell him that he's finally got his moment of fame and glory. So.
The one thing to the point with regards to that, I'm actually really impressed that he got married, considering he's purple. I mean, I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. Barney, I guess, huh?
There's you.
That's me right there. Yeah, that's just some of it. And also, I'll be posting a lot of. I mentioned we've had a lot of shake up in the team, so I'm going to be posting a lot more up-to-date information there, and also that right on to the left there, where it says Jason Fager Racing. We actually sponsored Jason Fager Racing for quite some time, and I'm actually working. I'm trying to get, if anybody's interested in sponsorship for Jason Fager, is he a big time touring late model. That's one of my other business things that I do, is I try to drum up sponsors for the race car drivers. So we're sort of paranormal investigating race car people. So
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We all have to have a name, don't we? We all have to have something that we do.
Yeah. So it's good getting that information up there as well. His nickname is the High Side Hustler. That's why that said High Side cause hustling something, whatever it is. Yeah.
You are aware that being British means I don't understand none of this. Does the car turn right as well, or can it only go left?
Well, it's funny because they always say it's the sport where you turn right to go left, and that's essentially what you do. It's circle dirt track, and what they do is they drift around the turns in the dirt. So it's fun playing in the dirt. So yeah, it's fun. It's you look up some videos of dirt late model racing, and you'll kind of see what I've been around. Like I said, since I was old enough to walk, pretty much. So so I'm very familiar with it. So that's interesting. I haven't seen that one myself.
Yeah, don't try and drive. It looks like it'll do 3 miles an hour, maybe.
That's probably one of their. That's probably one of their little golf cart things that they have, probably driving around, probably. So
don't blame them in the slightest. Right. Well, sadly, this is where we come to the end of the show. So I am going to say thank you very much. Thanks for coming on. It's been brilliant again. It's always good talking to you. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. What I am going to say is we're going to make sure that every time you've got something to post, we'll put it up on our channel, and we'll also put it up on the Facebook group so people are aware of what's going on. For everybody else who's listening, just to let you know, I think Gary Fisher's show it will be starting tomorrow. We'll be posting up links to that in the Facebook pages and Facebook page and Facebook group for him. So get over there. If you don't, I swear to God, I'll send Kurt after you. And you don't want that.
No, you don't want that.
He's like a loan shark.
I will eat all your food and then take you down.
Yeah, he's like the bounty hunter without the cameras.
And with a weapon. Without spraying like a bottle of pepper spray in your face and running away because you've got going on. But yeah, nevertheless, that's what we've got coming up. That's what Gary Fisher's got coming up. And finally, a great show. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, John, man. I appreciate that.
Cheers, John. Buddy. Well, thank you. I appreciate it as always, and always happy to be on and talk to you guys anytime you guys got something.
Once this is up, I'll send you the link to send out to everybody.
Sounds great.
You are welcome on.
And I'll send you, like I said, definitely keep you up to date on where we're going to be when, and if anybody would love to come on an investigation with us, we'd love to have you.
Super. All right. Awesome. Thanks again. You're welcome anytime. We'll catch it again.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. For everybody else, thanks very much for listening. Good night, guys. Bye now.
Nice. Thank you.